Testing. Would you guys like a little ASMR? Güey, bienvenidos al No Pasa Nada Podcast. My name is Samantha Garcia, and here we are ready to chismear, gossipear. That's a verb of gossiping for those of you who don't speak this English language. I've been wanting to start this podcast for a hot minute, and at the start of the year, I thought, why not this year? This podcast came to me at the beginning of this year, 5 days after I had to evacuate from my home here in Pasadena, and a few days after I was like, what is life and what is the world? And we were having new administration, and I was like, you know what this world needs? And by world, I mean, do you know what I need? I need a place to chismear, a place to gather amigas, amigos, a place to gather community, and a place where it's just not so serious all the time. I really wanted to build this space and this community. I hope there's community. If not, it's just me listening to myself, which is not a bad thing. But to build a community of amigas where we can come and call it healing, call it gathering, healing through chistes, healing through stories, healing through laughter, right? And whether that's telling stories, sharing stories, talking about things that are going on, but like in a light-hearted, no pasa nada way. The reason why it's called No Pasa Nada, it's because I use it a lot in my day-to-day when I'm talking to my best friends, I'm talking to my mom, and I can be telling them the most tragic story, or I can be telling them the I just dropped coffee on my shirt and I have to be at this presentation in 20 minutes, pero sabes que? No pasa nada. I had a tree fall through my roof and there was smoke coming into my house and burning my eyes, so you know what? ¿Sabes qué? No pasa nada. It's a way that I have come to terms with saying, no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay. The world can literally be falling, and sometimes it is. But at the end of the day, I firmly believe that with a little bit of chiste, a whole lot of community, and a lot of joy that we have to be so intentional about creating ourselves nowadays, todo va a pasar a la misma vez, y a la misma vez no pasa nada, because we're going to get through this together. And in a moment where there's not a lot of joy in the world, I've decided to take it upon myself as the strong woman that I am to create my own form of joy. And joy in this day and age is resistance. Joy as a woman of color is resistance. Joy as a woman who is single, has no kids, and is a Latina who speaks Spanglish and sometimes gets criticized for it on the internet, no pasa nada. And that is resistance in creating my own joy. No Pasa Nada is really a place where I hope that you can come at the start of your day, at the end of the day, to start off your week, and I hope you feel that you are not alone in this world. I hope you feel that you can laugh about the things that we are going through as mujeres, as amigas, as a community, and I hope you feel a little bit closer and you have a little bit tight of a community at the end of each episode. I just want to say muchísimas gracias and welcome to the first episode of No Pasa Nada with Samantha Garcia. Let's get started. This episode today in particular, we are talking about Valentine's Day. My gatos, it's on Friday. And if you're like me, then it's just another Friday for you. No se crean. I have a lot of love in my life. Not a significant lover, but a lot of love in my life. A mí no me falta de nada, y mucho menos del amor. Pero no pasa nada. ¿Sabes por qué? Because today we're talking all things Valentine's Day. And I want to take you down the memory lane with me on a couple of little Valentine's Days that I used to remember. Do you remember being in third grade and you would have to go out to Walgreens, pick out your little box of Valentine's Day card, and you had to pick out the absolute correct one. It couldn't just be any normal Valentine's Day card. You had to get the ones that had the stickers. You had to get the ones that came with the correct messages because you knew that you were going to sit there and write out every single person in your class's name, and you had to pick out the one that you were going to give to your crush. If you were anything like me, you specifically chose the Looney Tunes cartoons, where the one where Daffy Duck is sitting there and says, "Violets are red, roses are blue. This is the year that you'll be my boo." Don't ask me why I still remember that, but it was given to this boy named Eric. Did I ever give it to him? No, because he had a girlfriend and I turned away, but I wrote it out. And I remember sitting there in my bedroom in cursive, because back in those days, kids, we had to write in cursive. In cursive, I was writing that name, E-R-I-C, ready to confess and profess ready to profess my love for this young boy named Eric. Eric, if you're listening to this, I hope you know that ship has sailed. But the way that I was so ready to give my Valentine's Day cards to every single person, and then, even then, irme a mi casa para leer todas las cartas que a mí me dieron y quién me las dio. Because if there was one that was even sort of flirtatious, you best believe that I was going to be like, does he have a crush on me? I knew that's why he was looking at my home right that one time. And all I'm saying is, why did we have to grow out of giving Valentine's Day cards to people? Can you imagine if we gave Valentine's Day cards to people as grown-ups? Like, you had to give one to everyone that you would come across in your day-to-day life. Can you imagine? I would leave my mailman a Valentine's Day card that said, "You always deliver, winky face." Oh my gatos, ¿te imaginas? Pobre señor. He would not drop off my mail for the next 4 months. I met you. I would give my gym crush a Valentine's Day card that says, "Nice peach, winky face." And maybe that's why we don't do them anymore, because they would just be lawsuits for sexual harassment, especially in the workplace. But that would be way easier, and that would make my dating life a lot more exciting. Like, a DM? Really? Like, not even on Valentine's Day do people, like, send... DMs would be a lot cooler if people actually sent, like, Valentine's Day messages in the DMs, right? Instead of WYD, right? Or, like, hey, what do you want me to do with it? Hey, pa quien? Like, if you're going to come into my DMs, come in right. Give me a little poem. Give me a little sonnet, a haiku, if you will. At least then I can have something to respond to. I can see if you're creative or you know how to rhyme what comes with orange. But if not, a hey, or like a hey, you seem cute, and you have eyeballs. Like, that's not very impressive to me, my guy. Like, come right or don't come at all. Anyways, I just gave you an insight as to what's going on in my DMs. Not much is going down in there. All I'm saying, if we as adults in a society were able to bring back Valentine's Day cards to give to people, life would be a lot more exciting. And I would personally give every employee at the Trader Joe's a bouquet of flowers and chocolates with my Valentine's Day cards, because those homies keep me going for more. And they deserve that. They do deserve that. I've also come to find out that if you are a single girl during Valentine's Day, everyone else is much more sadder than you, at least for me. People coming up to me and they're like, "Oh my God, aren't you sad that you're like all alone on Valentine's Day?" No. The last couple of times that I was entangled on the 14th of February. Let's see, the last time we were at dinner on that day, and I paid for the dinner. Conste que pendeja yo. Pendeja yo, because my partner was in the restroom at the time that the waiter came, and I was like, "Oh yeah, can we get the bill, please?" And they pulled out their little handheld, like, device so that you can pay, right? Y pendeja yo, because I automatically just gave him my card instead of being like, "Oh, he'll be right back," right? And that's why also I'm not in a relationship, because I'm a tintiri when I come into relationships. But anyways, I paid for the dinner on that day, and we didn't even, like, have an actual conversation during Valentine's Day. The day before, I had to ask him, like, if he was at least gonna post me on his story. Are you kidding me? I can take myself out to a nice dinner. Probably not on the day, because it's probably gonna be the busiest day that you can think of out of the entire year. But I can have me a good time and not be disappointed. But if you personally have big plans for your significant other, I love that for you. And I really hope that you do go out all out and you enjoy it. I don't know why, but my previous relationships, they were also always like, we were like kind of too good for Valentine's Day. You know what I mean? We were like, my longest relationship, it was like, our anniversary was like a few days after Valentine's Day, a couple weeks. So we were always like, no, we don't celebrate it. Then we'll always celebrate it on like our actual day. So we honestly wouldn't do anything. And I feel like a lot of couples I see that it's like, oh, we're doing like pre-Valentine's Day and stuff. Honestly, the next time I'm in a relationship, I'm like, I want all out. I love love. And I'm like, I need a horse and a carriage on that day. Maybe I'll get myself a horse and a carriage. Or a pint of Ben & Jerry's ice cream. Either one, both would be great. The Ben & Jerry's ice cream sounds a lot better than horse, though. My expectations for Valentine's Day were set pretty high from a very young age. And that's because growing up, I always had someone give me a rose and my favorite chocolate bar, which are Hershey's Cookies and Cream, thank you very much, and a card on Valentine's Day. And that person was my mom. So growing up, I would come out to the kitchen and I would see like a rose, my favorite chocolate bar, and a card. And it would say like, Happy Valentine's Day, baby girl, I love you. To grow up with that, and then to get into my first relationships and like they wouldn't even bother getting me anything. My mother as a single mom set the bar so high for me as to what love was. Pero más importante de eso, like she taught me that Valentine's Day is not just about romantic love. It's about platonic love as well. It's just like all love, like friendship, platonic, romantic as well. And so when I talk about my life being full of love, I truly mean it. I'm like, no me falta, a mí hasta me sobra. And I am so lucky and thankful for that because I'm like, again, my standards are pretty high because of that one woman. And that reminds me, I have to send my mom her flowers and a chocolate bar for Valentine's Day. Now again, this is not to downgrade anybody's conception or reality of love. If you are in a loving, committed, genuine relationship, healthy relationship, I seriously hope and I absolutely love that for you. And for my amigas who are wondering if they're going to be getting something, who are asking if they're going to be getting something, I really hope that, and if he doesn't get you anything, come back and tell me and then we can talk shit about him in the comments. It's okay. Pero ya en todo serio, I love love and I love celebrating love. I love seeing my friends in love. And I'm so lucky that right now I'm at a point where a lot of my friends are in such healthy, genuine, good, and caring relationships. And I absolutely love that. And for those of you who are not in relationships, those of you who are enjoying your love, just remember that all types of love is absolutely, completely normal. And you better go celebrate yourself. As for me, I wanted to wrap up today's little show by sharing a couple of things that I love because again, there's all sorts of little loves that you can be celebrating this week and you should be celebrating this week as well. The things that I love. Ben & Jerry's non-dairy ice cream. Oh my God. Since I recently discovered that I am a lactose intolerant girly, I miss quesadillas so bad. But as an ice cream lover, Ben & Jerry's, first of all, we love Ben & Jerry's because they speak up for what they believe in. And we like that. Neutrality is not an option these days. Ben & Jerry's non-dairy ice cream does not have me wanting to go to the restroom every 5 minutes. And it's so good. I can finally eat my cookie dough ice cream all night long, which is what I'll be doing Friday night if anyone's wondering. Things that I love. My friends. Wait, cuando te digo que tengo amigas que me llenan el alma, I wish nothing but genuine friendships for all of you listening and watching right now. Friendships that are unconditional, friendships that inspire you, friendships that are there for you. Things I also love right now. People who stand up for what they believe in. Topo chicos. And something I am really, really, really in love with right now. Y se va a escuchar bien cursi. But my life. I am on a daily basis falling in love with my life. I'm 29 years old. I am single. I live in Los Angeles. I have my own apartment. I pay my own bills. I'm chasing my dreams. Every single day I get to create the life that I couldn't even dream of as a little girl. Y te lo juro, when I've been asking myself, did I ever dream about this? And I think as a little girl, a big part of me did. But never in my wildest of dreams could I have thought it to be this good. I'm at so much peace, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. I have so much clarity, and at the same time, I'm so lost. And at the same time, I'm so thankful to be exactly where I am and at this exact moment in my life. And for that, I am absolutely in love with my life and grateful for every single thing that I'm encompassing on a day-to-day basis. Whether you have really big plans with a significant other, whether it's a first date, I hope it goes well, or whether you're spending it with some loved ones or by yourself. I hope you have so much love and you have so much fun, and I hope you have so much and you feel so much joy this entire week, but especially on Valentine's Day. And if you have plans and if you don't have plans, if this is your first Valentine's Day being single, please tell me what you're doing in the comments. Share with me where you're taking yourself on a date. Tell me what he got you or what she got you for Valentine's Day. And even better, tell me what they didn't get you. And then we can talk shit about them on the next episode. Porque aquí, amiga, aquí sí vamos a chismear. Claro que sí. And for those of you who are wanting to grow your self-love or in your single era, or maybe you're together, but you still want to grow a little bit of independence, and this year was a year you wanted to take yourself on some solo dates, join me next week as I teach you how to solo date 101. I will be giving you my tips and tricks on how to take yourself on the ultimate solo date. So aquí te espero la semana que entra. Espérame. Before I close out my very first podcast episode, I wanted to take this time, and I didn't know if I was going to do this or not, but then I realized this is my show, and I can do and say whatever I want. I wasn't necessarily sure if I was going to do this, but I think it's important to me, and I think it's a really important conversation that I wanted to have and that I wanted to share with you. Because this last weekend, my family and I lost one of our tios who lived in Mexico. He had a very long life, and he was sick for a while. El sábado en la mañana falleció. And I wanted to share it because as I've gotten older, I've realized a couple things that my family and I have been very blessed as to that we're not familiar with a lot of loss. The last time we lost someone in our family was about 12 years ago. And second to that, we don't have many male figures in our immediate family or in our what I consider my immediate family. I'd say there were about 2 men in our family who have been very strong father figures. And when I say strong father figures, I mean to my entire family, to kids who are not their kids, to my cousins, to my aunts. When I say like they have raised a good amount of us, they have really made a huge impact. And so to have lost one of them this week has just been very surreal. And as I've become older and mature and I've reflected on my life and my stories and my elders and those who have come before me, I want to share a little bit about him because the world deserves to know a little bit about who he was and to keep his memory alive. His name was Emilio Padilla Zanabria. I called him my tío Emilio. And so one of my favorite stories about him was every time I would go to Mexico, he would do this to everyone. And looking back now, it was such a blessing whenever he would do this to you. And you would just be so lucky if you got to have this experience with him, because he would tell you like, oh, mija, venga, déjale doy su domingo, right? Like, let me give you your allowance. And in Spanish, se dice domingo. And he would be like, here, let me give you your domingo. And I never grew up with an allowance, so I'd be like, oh my gosh, my tío's gonna give me some money, yes. And of course, we'd be in Mexico, so like a few pesos would be enough to go get some chips. And I'm like, oh, sí, deme algunos pesos. And he would put out his hand like this, as if he was going to like drop some money in it. And then as soon as like as soon as you held your hand out, he would put his hand in there, and then he had a toothpick in there. As he was dropping off, he would poke your hand and you would be like, ow, like what the hell? And then it would be so funny. And everyone around would always be watching and staring because everyone knew what he was doing. And it was just the funniest thing because that was his thing for everyone. Venga, déjale doy su domingo. Y tas, te picaba con el palillo. And those are just like one of the memories that like all my cousins and I have every single time. Like, again, it was kind of like you're being blessed by a family tradition every time he did that to you. He was a photographer for a newspaper outlet in Torreon, Coahuila. And it's been so heartwarming to see so many people dedicate and send their condolences because he was a very talented photographer. And he was such a kind man. And there's so many stories that my grandma and my uncles have shared with me about him. And as I continue to live in this world and come to terms with like, not everyone is going to continue to live in this world, but it's like, how can I continue to keep their memory and continue to keep their stories alive? Because in my heart of heart, stories like his are the ones that I think are so beautiful, right? And also how beautiful, I don't know why it kind of just hit me recently where I'm like, he was a photographer, he was an artist, he was a creator, and that does run within our family, and he was able to make a living off of that, and he was such a talented artist and such a talented photographer. And I think that that's a beautiful thing to honor, especially as we don't give a lot of credit to artistic careers, or we don't give a lot of leniency to our kids when they want to be artists. And you can look at me, but thank you, Mom. I appreciate it. You've supported me in my artistic way. Thank you so much for joining me on my first episode of No Pasa Nada. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see you again next time. My name is Renata Garcia, y nos vemos. Amigas, bienvenidas al No Pasa Nada. No Pasa Nada. Welcome to the No Pasa Nada Podcast with Samantha Garcia. Oh, prepare to be sick of me.